I came here in '94 to watch the Grand Prix, and I remember watching it Copse and Beckett's, which are two of the highest speed sections on the circuit, and just watching the cars go around. I mean, hearing the car, smelling the car, seeing the change of direction. These things are phenomenal to watch on TV, but in reality, it's another level. So, yeah, to actually be racing that car around Silverstone, those type of cars around Silverstone now, really does mean a lot to me.
You're almost an elder statesman now. Do you ever, when you're driving the car, think, this is the dream come true? Do you ever are you able to take a step back from it a bit?
I still do that every time I jump in the car. You know, every time I jump in the car, I hear the engine start up. They wave me out the garage, I close my visor, I hear the engine, I know I'm in control, 750 horsepower beast. And for me, it is a dream come true. And I still get that sort of buzzy, fluttery feeling when I exit the pit lane, when I accelerate. I'll never get bored of that. And if I do, it's definitely time to retire.
Massive summer of sport, rugby, cricket, Wimbledon, the Tour de France. Which ones do you like following?
Wimbledon, obviously, it's a very special occasion in sport in the UK. Yeah, I've been following it a little bit, shocked already by some of the results. And Tour de France, you know, I do a lot of cycling. I actually cycle with quite a few of the guys that are racing in the Tour de France, so I'll be supporting them, and obviously the Brits as well, Froome and Cavendish. It's you know, it's crazy. I think it's crazy racing for 3 weeks, 200 kilometers a day. You know, these guys are determined, and these guys have worked hard to get to where they are, and how competitive it is. So, looking forward to that, and yeah, you know, loving sport and TV at the moment.
Now, you're a good Somerset boy. What chance of you coming back to live in the UK one day?
Somerset boy, yes, through and through. You know, I never forget my roots, and I loved growing up in Somerset. I was very lucky to grow up in the countryside, away from a big city. I think it was the best way for me to learn my trade as a racing driver as well, and go-karts.
Other people think that motor racing's for posh kids. It obviously isn't. When you think back to those days of scrimping and saving, what do you remember most?
I lived with my dad at that point, and I was lucky enough that he could afford to buy me a go-kart, but I think he spent all his money on it, and we had to borrow money to go racing, and there was one race in Scotland, and if I didn't do that race, I definitely didn't have a chance of winning the British Championship in karting. So he had to borrow money just for fuel to get up there for us to race. I won the race and I won the British Championship, and obviously helped my career. But yeah, they were tough times. You know, we didn't come from a wealthy background, and you know, I'm sure that's the same for many sportsmen. The difference with motorsport is to be able to afford a kart itself is very difficult. You know, I think at that time it was about £600 in the late 80s, which is quite a bit of money. But you know, he put everything into that, and he saw something in me in terms of natural ability, and it's something that we did on the weekends, and it was a real family thing. And obviously, we've got very lucky. There's always luck involved in sport, and we had luck that we got a sponsor, we got a manager that could pay for my racing, and I could go racing around Europe, and that's how it really got started, because we definitely couldn't have done it on our own.